Ladies and gentlemen, I want to read you a Washington Examiner article, Hunter Biden Admits Laptop Certainly Could Be His, by Jerry Dunleavy, April 2nd, 2021. What? The New York Post was suspended off of Twitter for simply breaking a story that every major media corporation should have addressed and investigated. Instead, they knew it would tank our beloved President Biden. They knew it would vindicate President Trump, and this has vindicated the New York Post. The reason they impeached President Trump, the first impeachment, was because of obstruction of Congress and abusing power. That any president could be impeached on those two broad allegations, which, by the way, weren't legal statutes. He didn't commit a crime. Now, the federal government is investigating Hunter's taxes, so the federal government is doing what they accused Trump of trying to do himself by pressuring a foreign leader. President Zelensky himself stated that there was no pressure. And you can see what's going on in that region of the world. Our beloved President Biden will do absolutely nothing, just like Bush and President Obama did nothing. Okay? There are numerous reasons why we'll do nothing, which we'll get to a little later. But here, Hunter Biden admits laptop certainly could be his. Well then, if it's his, then the emails are legitimate and point to, quid pro quo schemes. So the laptop is his, which, if he says certainly could be, he's admitting that, yeah, those emails are genuine. They're authentic. Yeah, I did really say I give 10% to the big man of all the money I make. So basically a cut of the deals and the deals that he brokers because of his family name, because of the vice president. Yeah, nepotism is not getting on the board of directors of a company in the Ukraine because your father is the point man, the vice president in charge of foreign policy for that country. That's not nepotism. That's a national security risk. Nepotism is like, if your son or daughter take over your family business or work with you. That's nepotism. But Democrats, they don't delineate between corruption and just normal, decent behavior. They just try to lump everything in, he's had substance abuse issues and he's battled them and Beautiful Things, the memoir, is a fantastic book because it shows a triumph. It shows that he's he's overcome his demons. It's like, what? The book itself talks about how he befriended a homeless dealer and was consuming a substance every 15 minutes, okay? Which the substance was crack. But the irony or the hypocrisy, the disingenuous nature of the Democratic Party here is missing. It was his father who wrote the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity for that very substance. Meaning 100 people of color were convicted or arrested for every one person like Hunter Biden. But again, if you just place a mirror in front of the Democratic Party, they'll be able to look at themselves and see how hypocritical they all are, but they would never do that. Let's just read this here. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. You can go to hagoodman.com to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, The Daily Caller, The Roanoke Times, other publications. Hunter Biden admits laptop certainly could be his. Hunter Biden admitted the laptop whose hard drive contents were obtained by the media in late 2020 certainly could be his after all, with President Joe Biden's son suggesting the laptop could have been stolen. So he certainly could be his, but then he suggested the laptop could have been then taken by Russian intelligence. But still, the admission here is that it's his laptop. So now we're led to believe, see, every possible conceivable benefit of the doubt is given to Democrats. So yeah, it could be his laptop, but then, when he left the laptop at the computer repair store, the Putins came and wrote things like, how can you use your influence on behalf of the company? And here's 10% for the big man. And thank you for allowing us to meet your father. It was a great honor. And all of these deals that he brokered that Biden said he never knew of, and that Biden said he was not a part of, all that information is there. But anyway, the younger Biden, who has admitted to being under federal investigation related to his taxes, is promoting a memoir about his life and his documented struggle with addiction titled Beautiful Things. Of course, they would never allow anything of the sort with any of the Trumps. The double standard would be phenomenal. They would first of all, they would pontificate. They would take out the soapbox. And I'm not even like, we're gonna get to Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game. Like, what? So now you have like institutions in this country. Let me finish this. We'll get to that in a second. He was asked about the laptop on CBS Sunday Morning, released Friday, with Tracy Smith asking if it was his. The president's son repeatedly gave evasive answers. For real, I don't know. I really don't know what the answer is. That's the truthful answer. When pressed again, yes or no. And so, of course, so it could have been yours. Of course, certainly, there could be a laptop out there that was stolen from me. It could be that I was hacked. It could be that it was Russian intelligence. So he admits, in an evasive way. See, again, we're learning in this country that we're becoming this dystopian society, this Orwellian society where Major League Baseball moves because they don't like a voting law that has, like, it doesn't restrict anybody. It doesn't restrict anyone. It just addresses protocol and removes certain pandemic-related guidelines, which were there only because science, okay? Which even the experts said, yeah, you could vote that day. So Democrats hid behind science, even though they had 3 primaries at the height of the pandemic. So God forbid you address pandemic-related voting laws to, set up an actual protocol to pick up or limit, set up a protocol to pick up the votes in drop boxes. Like, there's nothing wrong with a protocol, like actual people that work for the state. I'm not even going to get into it, but there was no set person or person designated to pick up any of those ballots. Okay? So, even though there was no direct evidence of massive foul play in November, it behooves everybody, because Republicans can take advantage of just no protocol pertaining to a whole bunch of pandemic-related laws. Again, you had Slate, the New York Times, Palm Beach Post, a whole bunch of publications saying that Republicans were taking advantage of that type of thing not long ago. But what is Major League Baseball doing, picking a political side and then pretending that it's a moral it's some kind of moral decision to make? It is not moral to vote Democrat over Republican. It is completely immoral to vote for a prolonged, never-ending stay in a region of the world we should have left a long time ago. You can easily refute a whole bunch of arguments saying it is moral to vote Democrat. Look at the morality taking place at the southern geographic region of our country right now. Well, very moral. Places that should have only 30 or 40 people now have like hundreds, if not thousands of people crammed in one location. And this is happening under Biden. Where's the morality there? So Major League Baseball, again, you have these institutions. You have these institutions in our country picking a political side under the guise of morality, when you can easily disprove, like, any semblance of morality voting for Democrats. They get away with the most, like, atrocious behavior because all of media, including Major League Baseball and other, like, social media, like, we knew that social media was a part of it, but baseball also. And it's like the voting laws, if indeed they're illegal, will be settled in court. Not Major League Baseball should wait at least. Let's say I'm wrong. And it is an immoral, illegal. These are voting laws that actually restrict, segments of the population. So that will be settled in court. Okay, but it was a state law that was settled in that there's nothing that is unconstitutional or immoral if you actually read the law. And Joe Biden got 4 Pinocchios. Biden falsely claims the new Georgia law ends voting hours early. The Washington Post. So if you actually read the law itself, it's not the end of the world. It just sets protocols and defines, like, working hours. Defines who can pick up ballots. From the drop boxes. Defines a whole bunch of things that didn't have definitions or protocols or actual guidelines. So it's not like the end of the world. And there's early voting still exists. Like, for two weekends prior, you still get early voting. What more? It's like, there has to be something called Election Day. Sorry. It's like, sorry, Democrats, you're going to have to, vote on Election Day. Anyway, if indeed the voting law is immoral and illegal, then the courts will decide that. Why does Major League Baseball have to pick a side? It's like the most absurd, dystopian, warped thing I've ever seen in my life. You're talking about an institution in our country that should have nothing to do with politics. MLB moves All-Star Game from Atlanta over voting law. And then I have decided the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport is by relocating the event, Manfred, said Rob Manfred. Why don't you put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame? He deserves it, all-time home run champ. I wrote an article in the Huffington Post about that. All of Major League Baseball knew that everyone was taking performance enhancements. So they knew that. And they pocketed all the revenue from the jerseys, from Bonds jerseys. Why don't they give back all the money from every Barry Bonds jersey to Barry Bonds or to a charity? Oh, they will never do that. Oh, but they're going to move the All-Star Game to. So it's like Major League Baseball fundamentally supports voting rights for all Americans. Yes, and opposes restrictions to the ballot box. Restrictions? These aren't restrictions. These are just reforms that address the pandemic-related guidelines that were just implemented quickly without any thought, because science. And again, if these are actual restrictions that are unfair and immoral and illegal, that would have been a court of law would determine that, not Rob Manfred from the Commissioner of Baseball. It's pretty unbelievable how, like, this is if you didn't have every possible like, you have Major League Baseball, you have corporations, you have social media, you have Hollywood, they're all propping up the Democratic Party. They have a razor-thin majority in Congress. Razor-thin. Okay? What happens when Republicans run the House in 2022? What's Major League Baseball going to do? What are they going to do? Like, I don't know how they could possibly be in the tank for the Democratic Party even more. But I know, we'll see. Like, nothing's off the table. I don't know. You already have every talk show host parroting Democratic Party talking points. You already have Major League Baseball now. You have social media companies. It's like every element of society is in the tank for Democrats. Oh, this is not right. This voting law. And then when you look at it, it's like, no, that's not the case. Even the Washington Post is giving Biden Pinocchios. Okay? See, the difference, though, if the rebuttal to my mentality is, well, even though, the Washington Post is calling out Biden also. No, they're not calling out Biden. No one's even bringing up the Pinocchios. There's no running fact check of all of Biden's lies. Can you imagine how many thousands of lies he'll tell in the next 4 years? So, or misleading. So they don't go after Biden's misleading claims. Or maybe they do, but not to this extent of President Trump. So you could pad the statistics there. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hunter Biden admits the laptop is his, and Major League Baseball is basically an extension of the Democratic Party right now. It's like, we can go on. I mean, we can go on. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. You say, well, he's like, well, he already paid his dues, and the Hall of Fame without Pete Rose, we can go on forever. Major League Baseball hasn't been perfect the past 30 years anyway. They profit a great deal from fantasy baseball, which is a form of gambling. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. We can talk forever about this. Give me your thoughts.